a TVP with the Terran player. Let me see if I can get it right.
Go for it.
Korktrommel.
It's kind of close.
Ah, damn it!
The trommel was nice. I have to give that to you, but the ooh is a very distinct Dutch sound. Anyway, we have his opponent in the top right. Can you guess his name this time?
That's going to be Epic Foul.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, definitely good.
Does that mean Epic Fail?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yep. So that's basically what we're seeing here. We have the epic fail player against the cookie jar. That's what
Cookie jar. That's it. I know. You know, I remember the last DSCL season. This guy played there, and I kept wondering what the hell does his name mean. And then finally, after several broadcasts of me trying to figure it out, you told me that it's a cookie jar. So.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yep. So there's something I really want to mention here is that Koektrommel was in the previous broadcast that I casted. He also played against Protoss, and he played Ketrock style. For those of you who are not aware who Ketrock is, he is a Masters Terran player on the NA ladder, and his style is very slow. He basically what he did was on Frost, which is a large map. He went mass planetary fortress defense.
Oh.
Into mass battlecruisers.
Oh, I know that guy. He always posts those funny videos up on YouTube where he like destroys a guy with mass ravens or mass anything, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Koektrommel did, and he ended up beating a diamond player while he is only a platinum player himself. And you could really tell that he enjoyed it, and his opponent certainly didn't, because as a Protoss losing to mass battlecruisers, that's something that not everyone
that is let me tell you what that is. That is humiliating.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Alright, so far we do seem to have a pretty old style of opening coming out of Koektrommel here, because that's gonna be a gasless expansion as he does start the construction on his command center, whereas his opponent, he looks to be opening with one gas only, probably going for an expansion of his own, but this one is going to be slightly slower, so we might be seeing a little bit of a flashback to Wings of Liberty here.
Well, the interesting thing is, of course, Epic Foul himself only went for one assimilator, just to start the second one, just to get more minerals so he could get the quicker second Nexus out, and of course still have a mothership core out in time. Now this opening by Koektrommel is exactly the same thing he did on Frost, where he went Ketrock style. So I am very interested to see if he's going to do that here as well. And already we see him walling off. He still doesn't have gas, but he did get an engineering base. So yeah, and there's actually a third command center on the way. So this is, from what I can tell, the exact same style.
Oh man.
What happened in that game was that the Protoss player went for a very standard play. You know, he went like Robo Bay, added a forge, Twilight Council, robotics facility, you know, go into Colossus. And what was his opponent making? Well, battlecruisers.
Oh.
Colossus doesn't fare well against battlecruisers. So Koektrommel has established at least one turret in his main, getting the second one in his natural, along with the wall off. So this is already quite safe against early DT or Oracle opening.
Yeah, he does have missile turrets in both of his mineral lines. We have that robo facility and 2 additional gateways coming up on the side of the Protoss player. He has started to mine his second gas as well. No forges in sight just yet. No Twilight Councils, nothing of the sort. So probably a really... Oh, there's the forge. Okay.
Yeah.
But still, this should be a fairly slow opening here for Epic Fall in terms of how quickly he is going to be teching up. And a good thing for him, he's getting that observer, and that's really pointed all the way towards the Terran base. So if he's careful, he should with the what fourth command center, he should find out what is going on with that scout.
So there's an advantage to getting an early engineering bay, which is that you can get an early planetary fortress. And there we go. We have this game was I think recorded by someone in the observer slot, so he can see the chat as well as the pings going on. So yeah, he gets an early planetary fortress at the front to be very, very safe. That's part of the strategy.
And it's been spotted by the hallucinated Phoenix. So, what I'm interested to see is what is Epic Fowl's reaction going to be. He's getting the +1 armor for the Zealots. Now, Zealots can bring down a planetary fortress, but it takes a lot of time and you have to invest a lot of resources into that. Of course, the best units to take down a planetary is the Void Ray. And look at that reaction. Third Nexus immediately. He's like, well, you're going to be turtling. Okay, let me take the map. Let's see how successful he is in that endeavor as he's getting his robotics bay. Still no Twilight Council, so probably +1 is going to be +1 weapons is going to be queued up in that forge after the armor finishes, and Epic Fall is going to be going for Colossi. Not the best choice considering what you said Cooktromol did in previous games.
So the observer from Epic File is currently hovering over the gold as well as in front of the natural. So he isn't quite aware of the fact that the third is being taken. What's even more important, of course, is the double starport that's coming out from Cooktrommel. Epic File did see the 5th command center, but I guess he isn't aware of what his opponent did in the previous games, like we mentioned. But of course, seeing the extra command centers is a bit weird. Oh, he takes the gold of his own. That's actually a good move. Because in the previous game, I mean on Frost, the Protoss really didn't know there were battlecruisers coming in until it was a bit too late.
Now here's the thing. I've seen the second forge being started, +1 armor just now finished, but I see no Twilight Council anywhere, so I'm kind of questioning Epic Fall's decision making here in terms of infrastructure. And now he realizes that there is the Twilight Council, there's the +1 ground weapons and a Stargate as well. A second cybernetics core, so he's definitely going air, and I would love to see shield research being started out of that second forge so it can make itself useful, if nothing else. In terms of economy, both of these players are pretty damn equal, and it's starting to look like a game of cat and mouse, where the Protoss is like, well, let me have a humongous economy before you get a mass of battlecruisers so I can actually defeat you.
I think the response from Epic File in this case is adequate. He got a second cybernetics core. He's now currently upgrading 1-1 for air, which is actually the correct response. He wants to transition. Oh, actually, he made 2 Banshees, and now there's 2 battlecruisers on the way. If he just starts Void Raid production, he should be kind of okay, but the ideal composition you want to have against mass battlecruisers is something like High Templar, Tempest. Basically.
Yeah, of course. High Templars, Tempest to bring down those battlecruisers. These Banshees, they don't have cloak, but there is no appropriate units to deal with the Banshees here. Of course, the ideal units in this situation would have been Phoenixes, because you just don't want to waste gas on Stalkers. They are going to be absolutely useless in the later stages of the game. 1 Banshee goes down, couple of probes did die here, 6. There the cloak finishes, and now there are no observers inside. 2 cannons are just about to finish, but I think the Banshee is out of range for detection. No, it's in range! Wow.
Okay, so the second Banshee took a bit of damage. The thing about making Banshees, though, is that it will usually force Stalkers out of the Protoss, even though Stalkers are usually not the correct choice. Epic File is now adding on 3 more Stargates, which is the correct response. And what's really important here for now for both players is the gas income. Cooktrommel is now on 3 bases, and he's getting his own gold, which is a really good choice. He's getting his gold base, and he doesn't really have much of an army to support this. So if Epic File actually attacks here, this could be a bit of a backfire.
Yeah, he is attacking. He wants to deny that gold. And yeah, you're absolutely right. There are only 2 battlecruisers to defend this, and the Stalkers are going to be shut down. Not enough anti-air so far for Epic Fall here, but I think he's going to remedy that rather quickly once those Stargates finish. There we go, 3 Tempests at a time. Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about, baby.
This is going to be extremely tough for the Terran. In case you haven't noticed, Tempests very much so outrange battlecruisers.
They very much so outrange everything.
Yeah, that's a good point. Cooktrommel's actually, he was supply blocked, but making command centers alleviated that. And I really wonder if Cooktrommel's actually going to be able to hold this base, because it is quite important for him. They are on equal bases at this point. But yeah, if you just look at the sheer income, the gas for Epic Val is and has been quite higher. So just in sheer terms of production, he's been ahead, and Tempests are generally better against battlecruisers.
Generally they are, and Epic Fall, I really like how he's playing this. He's like, you have to turtle until you get enough battlecruisers and banshees and Vikings, ravens, whatnot. I'm going to build mass cannons everywhere. And I remember a game I played once in Wings of Liberty when one guy trolled me with just mass banshees on, what was it, Antigua Shipyard. That map was so obnoxious. And of course I did make the mistake of massing High Templars and Stalkers instead of Phoenixes. So, you know, like when you have a fleet of banshees, they just swoop in, they kill the Nexus in 2 volleys and fly away. And if the Terran keeps on doing this for a long enough amount of time, he's just going to bleed you dry. So I really like Epic Fall's reaction to this. And those mass planetary fortresses, you know, they do protect versus ground assault, but they don't fare that well versus air units.
Okay, so Cooktommel right now has a lot of minerals. He's getting more command centers, so he can start throwing away SCVs at a certain point. The mistake I feel Epic Foul is making is by not attacking. He should be contesting this fourth with the Tempest, because if he takes a watchtower, he can just pummel the worker line from afar. And there's really no way for Cooktommel to alleviate that, because, okay, he just finished his Yamato cannon. Oh wait, he has had that for quite a while, I think, because it was more of a case of energy. But still, the battlecruisers will be outranged by the Tempest, and getting up close is also quite difficult. And a bit of solid harassment by Epic Foul, but this planetary is actually going to finish and should be able to hold this.
Should be. Well, on the other hand, I don't know. The spread of the Protoss units is pretty good, and the planetary is not getting that much of a splash damage. Here come the fleet of BC Ravens to try to defend the space. I think they will be able to very narrowly save that one. Yep, those units have been killed. But another base in the meantime, in the lower right portion of the screen, is up for Epic Foul. We are at the 17-minute mark, ladies and gentlemen, and both players are on 5 bases. This is astonishing. This was a nice attempt at War Prism Harass. Unfortunately, this is a Goody-style missile turret ring around the base everywhere.
None in the main, but there are Ravens there. So, yeah, there we go. 2 Seeker.
Oh, man. Talk about drop defense. Bam!
Kills actually quite a few of the Zealot, but still 6 get warped in. So he's going to pull all of his battlecruisers in order to defend it, and might actually lose a couple of command centers. I hope he learns from this mistake, because just a couple of Zealots are not that much of a problem. And he adds on a couple of missile turrets. The map is currently being split rather perfectly in half, and Cooktommel is getting to that humongous composition of battlecruiser Raven, which is arguably the strongest composition in the game.
Yeah, arguably it is, if it has good upgrades. If you take a look at the upgrades, the Protoss is always going to be ahead. 3-3 upgrades have been queued up for armor and for shields. Air weapons and armor are not doing that bad either. In the very least, the Protoss Air is going to be on the same number of upgrades with the Terran, and we have carriers, Tempests in that army. I don't know. I mean, I would have preferred a little bit more Void Ray-ish composition instead of those carriers, but because, you know, carriers are not that effective versus battlecruisers. They're good versus ground units mostly, but air units, I don't know about that. And here comes the swooping in, and the Nexus surely will go down. And we might have a first fight here. The carriers are at the front. Seeker missiles have been targeted and engaged. Colossi are trying to harass the mineral line. In the meantime, Tempests are focusing down the battlecruisers. Here come the feedbacks, but already too late. Still a lot of hit points have been depleted from that army. Storms do land as well. And while the Terran army is going to dissipate, all the carriers are still standing strong. Now they're starting to go down, but look at that Tempest fleet annihilating completely everything. What is Cooktommel going to reinforce with? Well, you guessed it, battlecruisers.
Yeah, he made a big mistake there by just fighting straight up and going for the Nexus. Admittedly, the army of Epic Foul was at that moment in a superior composition, and as well as a position with having perfect vision because of the Protoss buildings. Those Tempests were just, you know, unstoppable. Like, the carriers take a while to die, and he just A-moved his battlecruisers, so they were targeting the interceptors rather than the carriers themselves, which
Yeah,
is...
that's the problem with carriers. You always
Yeah.
have to manually target fire the carriers if you want to get rid of them. Otherwise, the AI will start shooting at the interceptors, which is not what you want. And this is the biggest problem in battles like this, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it's more so a lack of control than the actual unit composition. However, Cooktommel right now, once again, being War Prism harassed in his own base. A whole bunch of zealots warp in, quite annoying to deal with, but he's losing bases left and right now to this Tempest carrier composition.
And you know, to be quite honest, I didn't see a single PDD in that major fight at the Protoss Gold. I mean, a single PDD equals, in terms of durability of your army, it's basically one battlecruiser worth of hit points. So, you know, if there had been like 3 or 4 PDDs at that location, I think that battle would have been a little bit more equal.
Yeah, there were several PDDs, but the main mistake is that he moved his battlecruisers out of the range of the PDDs, so they weren't any longer being covered. Adding on last-minute missile turrets really isn't going to help alleviate the problem. They do take care of interceptors somewhat nicely, but the interceptors are constantly being rebuilt. Templar still will land some really sick feedbacks if he wants to.
No, he decides to storm the SCVs instead. Good decision, although... Well, basically a good decision. At this point, this is the only mining base for the Terran player, and it looks like Epic Val is not going to suffer an epic fail here in this game. Instead, he's going to show us an epic victory.
Yeah, it's the army of Epic Val just keeps growing. He's mostly adding on a nice storm there on the SCVs, by the way. He's mostly adding on carriers, by the way, just to add on more sheer brute force to his army. He's down to only a few carriers actually, so that makes sense. I think Cooktommel here is going to have to make a last stand. Gets feedback on almost all of his battlecruisers though, and some of the Yamatos do not go off. He moves the battlecruisers forward into Tempest range, fires on the carriers, but the main damage here is actually coming from the Tempests, which are unrelentless.
Yeah, they are, and the Colossus is even providing vision for them, so that they can shoot even further, as their vision is quite limited, but range is not. And yeah, this is basically a very slow death of the Terran player Cooktommel here in the first game, I feel. But it's been a very interesting game and a fun one to watch as well.
We have a whole fleet of carriers back at home for Epic Val right now, so even if he loses this army, he can still, he can live. Oh, there's actually Marines still alive that were in the bunker of Cooktommel. They have been obliterated, and yeah.
Correction, they were alive.
Exactly. And Epic Val is just slowly pushing his way into the Terran base. Almost no income here left for Cooktommel, just a couple minerals, because there's one SCV mining gold. And he will now be focusing on that base, taking out the last resource income of Cooktommel.
Basically just waiting for the GG, as Epic Val's army systematically is annihilating every orange dot on the minimap. A couple of Yamato cannons do go off here. A PDD was initiated as well, I think, but still a lot of Tempests remaining. Unfortunately, the Protoss army has been divided, or was divided at this moment, so Epic Val has to retreat and regroup, but look at what he brought back from his homeland. 6 more Templars and a whole slew of Tempests, abusing the terrain even more, and this is probably going to be the last fight that we see here. Again, a PDD adding so much more hit points to that Terran army, but also making that army stationary. And here come the Templars. They're going to start feedbacking.
You can actually feedback PDDs like that.
You can.
And then they just explode. Nice storm there, actually. Kind of whiffs though, but yeah, Cooktommel keeps clumping his battlecruisers, which is certainly not ideal against Storm, but on the other hand, you want to get right on top of these Templars and on top of these Tempests in order to actually maximize the damage output of the battlecruisers, and he seems to be kind of giving up. Like, I'm not sure what his plan is. He landed an orbital at his third, well, there's actually a probe underway here.
Look at the Terran third base.
Yeah.
He already queued up Nexus there.
Exactly. So that's an interesting move. He actually queued up 2 Nexus, I see. Yeah, the battlecruisers actually have energy right now, so they're gonna fight. They're gonna get right on top of these Tempests. Yamato's landing everywhere, but not delivering the killing blow. It's so important that you actually kill the Tempest with Yamatos, otherwise it's not really worth it. Storm also lands on the Battle Cruiser, a single Seeker missile targeted on his Battle Cruiser, flown in as a kamikaze act, but it doesn't seem to be enough as the last Battle Cruisers can take it down. Duke Tumble says, well, GG. GG from Epic Foul as well, and he leaves the game, and that gives teams gives Team Solid their first loss in this best of 5 series.